I'm Brad Lewis from Learn and Serve America at the Corporation for National and Community Service. And we are here at the 2009 Grantee Meeting for Learn and Serve America grantees across the country. I'm privileged today and proud to be speaking with Teri Dary from Wisconsin. Tell me a little bit about what you do in relation to service learning in Wisconsin.
I'm the service learning consultant in Wisconsin, so I do everything there is to do with service learning. I coordinate the Learn and Serve grant, so we work with all of our district grantees that are implementing service learning in the classroom, and then also work to integrate service learning into the other curriculum areas within the department and throughout the agency.
Wow, that sounds like a really big job. How do you manage to implement new technology in a bureaucracy like a State Department of Education?
What I do is my strategy is to work with other teams, and so I network a lot within the agency, look to find other people that are doing things that connect with service learning, that resonate with this pedagogy, and so it's a natural fit. So I try to find things that connect naturally rather than forcing that relationship to happen.
That's great. You say pedagogy, method of teaching, right?
Right.
So how does service learning look from a teacher's perspective?
It's just a different way to teach. It's a more engaging way to get students to not only learn their academic content, but how to apply that academic content. So what I tell people is it's about the learning. Service is important, certainly, but it's the outcome to the learning. So service becomes how students apply what they've learned and gained within the classroom, and it deals with that higher order thinking skills, the complex problem solving that we want students to learn anyway, but rather than in a contrived, story problems in math, for example, we look to find ways that we connect and use that knowledge to benefit the community.
All right, so that starts to get into some of the impact of service learning, benefiting the communities, benefiting the young people. What are some of the concrete benefits you've seen of service learning in communities where you fund service learning programs through schools?
Well, I think the community outcomes are wide and varied as the curriculum is. And so it goes anything from increasing water quality within the local community to connecting with elderly populations and working to address needs between multi-generational relationship issues. So it's whatever the issue is related to the community that also connects with the academics. So the instruction provides the framework for the service. And so whatever the students are learning about is then they seek for things in the community that address that or need those skills in order to address the issues.
That's great. I love the fact that you're putting young people in positions of power and authority to really make change in community. Can you think of an example where a particular young person or team of young people perhaps led a change or a project that people were really impressed with at the community level?
Well, one of the projects that I think was really exciting was a group of middle school students that were kind of concerned about safety in their community. So they took on two different projects. One was the town had a community pool that was outside of the town. It's a small town, so the kids had to ride on a county highway to get to the pool, which, doesn't really make a lot of sense safety-wise. And the community had tried to get a bike path built so that students would have an off-road access to the pool. 5 or 6 years before this time, the students, not knowing that, decided they wanted a bike path, and where the adults failed, the students came through and actually made the path happen. They got the landowners to deed the land to the city for $1. They worked with the DNR because they had to get clearance because it went along a riverway.
DNR?
I'm sorry, the Department of Natural Resources.
Oh, of course.
So they worked with environmental issues as well as just the transportation issues. So they worked with Department of Transportation to figure out what would work in connecting to the roadways in a way that would be safe, and worked with the county department because it crossed county park land, and they actually got funding through the state to achieve this. And what they had anticipated was getting a small gravel path. They actually got a 6-foot wide paved path that now the entire community uses. It's a walking path. It's a beautiful county park, so the town uses it on a regular basis. And then the other project that they did simultaneously was they were concerned about a railroad crossing that was very unsafe in the town. It was a curved area that had hills and brush, and so it was the visibility of the train tracks was limited, and it was one of those causeways that high school students use after school, a straight road. Kids tended to go too fast, and the town had put up a stop sign in a cement bucket, but the stop sign kept tipping over. And so they were concerned about that somebody was going to get hit by a train in the bottom line. So their goal was to get a gated crossing put over this railroad track. And they, in the process, they worked with the Wisconsin Railroad Commission. They again worked with the Department of Transportation and the police department in the local community to try to get this crossing to be safer. They weren't able to get a gated crossing. Anybody that's worked with the Railroad Commission, it's very, very difficult to achieve. But they got a permanent stop sign put in. They worked with the police to patrol the area more frequently and try to reduce the speeding. And they worked with the Railroad Commission to remove the debris and lower the hills so that there was greater visibility. So a nice outcome. Well, the interesting thing, and my son happened to have worked on this project, so I have a personal connection and really know it in depth. But he, so 3 years later, the mayor of the city got a call from the railroad commissioner that he had some extra money in his pocket, remembered this letter that these students had sent, and actually put a gated crossing in, which is, just remarkable. But what that did for those kids to realize that people in the community listen, adults will listen to them if they have a plan, if they have a thoughtful way of going about this, if they've researched the issue and really know what they're talking about, they can truly make an impact. And so the fun ending to the story was my son came home from college and had brought a friend home with him, and we were driving down that road, and as we drove by the railroad crossing, he said, "I did that. That was part of what I did." And so he, here's a college kid and still remembers having done this as a middle schooler. And I think that's the kind of impact I want to have on students.
Absolutely. Boy, who can beat that? Teri Dary from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Brad Lewis at the Learn and Serve America grantee meeting here in Washington, D.C. And thank you for joining us and learning more about service learning and how it can help our world.